Okay, everybody, we are getting ready to go live here in just a couple minutes, so sit back, enjoy the music, relax, and we'll get done once the music's over. Okay, welcome to CptDomano's Indie Corner episode number 5. It is December 30th. Had to look that up. December 30th, New Year's Eve. And we are here in my cold-ass basement. The winter has definitely started here. And it is freezing down by where my computer is at. Well, I'm going to start off with an apology. I know I said that I was going to do a show last week, and just ended up not feeling all that well and didn't want to try to force an episode. So didn't have one live, but I did mention that I was going to try to record one, and actually didn't get to do that either because I have been completely engrossed in Star Wars: The Old Republic. Can't say much other than that. That game has, for whatever reason, got its hooks in me, and I just can't stop playing. I've got 3 characters going right now, and that's pretty much where most of my time has gone these last couple weeks. So we missed out on the special Christmas episode that I was going to do. I was going to wear a Christmas hat. I actually have it right here. But I hope you all had a Merry Christmas and that you all have some very good plans for New Year's. I know I'm going to be enjoying the festivities tomorrow night at a friend's house, and that should be pretty cool. But let's go ahead and get started with the game for this week. It's a little game called Unepic. It's made by a guy, independent developer, a guy that worked on this over 2 years by himself. He's from Barcelona, Spain, so I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Francisco, because that's his first name. And when we get into the game, I'll show you his full name and stuff like that, so you can try to pronounce it yourself. I'm not going to try to be that guy that butchers a name. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get right into the game here. Because again, this game is it's a game that requires you to kind of listen. There's some traps. It's essentially what it is. It's a platformer with RPG elements. So what it's been called in my research, the term or the genre Metroidvania, so a combination of Metroid and Castlevania. That's what a lot of people have called this type of game, and it's again another pretty simple basic game, but just a very interesting way of going about it. The premise of the story is that your character, while at a D&D session at his buddy's house, has magically been transported into this castle and is now forced to explore the castle and fight off all the monsters. He's currently possessed by a spirit that has no name, and And that's pretty much the premise that you're given. And so the whole point of the game is to go ahead and explore this whole castle, try to figure out what's going on, what the point is. You fight off monsters, you're going to level up and things like that. There's a lot of humor in it, but a lot of the humor is referencing other games. So unless granted, the games that it references are pretty popular. I mean, it talks about World of Warcraft. It'll talk about Diablo and even StarCraft at a certain point. So if you're familiar with those games, then you'll find these jokes amusing. But that is something that is one of the things, and I'll talk about that more as we get into it. That while the game is fun, there are just a couple of things that I'm not really all that jazzed about. But the overall gameplay mechanics, the sound, everything's very crisp, very clean. And like I said, this was done by one man with a couple of other people contributing throughout the development. This was recently released on Desura, which is the topic I'm going to talk about after I show off this game. And this is the only way that you can get. Well, I'm sorry, not the only way you can get it. You can get it through the gentleman's personal website. But Desura is where I discovered the game and where I've purchased it. So we'll go ahead and talk about that after I show off the game. So now, without any further ado, let's get this game going. Put on my big ass headphones here. Okay, here we go. Okay. So, if we just jump, I'm just going to jump right into the game because there is kind of a lengthy intro, and it's rather, I don't want to say boring, but not exactly all that exciting for viewing. So, I'm going to go ahead and just hit continue, and it'll pick me up where I left off. Now, this is your guy, who you can name him whatever you want. So it's not like you're playing a specific person or anything like that. The game is entirely controlled with the keyboard and mouse. I did try to figure out if there was a way to use the Xbox 360 controller with this, and there isn't a way to incorporate that in here. So essentially, this is like I said, a very basic layout. There isn't anything sound-wise going on in this game. There's somebody in the chat that was asking about it. At least right now, at least I can hear, but I will churn it up just in case there are some things going on here. Okay. Okay, so here we go. There are actual quests and things involved with this game. And I just discovered one right now. Essentially, you can look them up here. Quests, the Room of Traps, and so there's this particular ghost character. Obviously, it says that he's killed by traps in the room, and essentially you're supposed to get through all the traps, and then there's a lever at the end of this room, and that will disable the traps and allow this ghost to rest in peace. So, okay. So just a quick overview of the layout here. We have some quick bar slots for your weapons or for whatever you want. They do have that. There's an extensive... You can have a whole bunch of stuff in your inventory here. I haven't really collected all that much just yet, but obviously you can see that you're going to be collecting a bunch of things, but it's not like how I mentioned before in the first episode with Binding of Isaac and Dungeons of Dreadmore, where the whole point is to collect everything, and it's not a random dungeon generator, it's not random loot or anything like that. It is strictly just like the old school stuff of Metroid and Castlevania, where there are set levels and excuse me, set levels and set things that are in the game. So okay, we'll just go ahead, and here's going to be the first thing that while the game is good, it's a little hard. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but right here there's a little kind of a different shade of it looks like gray on the floor here. That's actually a trap plate. So if I go over that, this fireball comes, but that's the thing, is that you don't really you can't really tell that there's a trap plate there, but I guess that adds to the difficulty of the game. And then once you get used to seeing it, like obviously there's another one right here. So go like that. Start going through this really quick. But then the other problem is that if you notice on the next trap here, a little bit longer. And that is something you got to watch out for, because what it is it ends up being spikes. So let's go ahead and run through this really quick. But what's also worth noting in this game is that the game is difficult in the fact that it doesn't really hold your hand so much. Like, you just kind of figure out where these traps are at and where they're going to come from. So I've kind of ran through this part a couple of times, but obviously you can see I'm still taking hits and things like that. So, whoops. Crap. But like I said, this is just a pretty basic exploration game. There's, from what I have read, there's over 200 rooms. Whoops, damn, I keep doing that. There's over 200 rooms to explore, and each room obviously is the length of one screen. And like I said, it's the game itself does have some combat in it. It's just that this is the part of the game that I got to, and unfortunately, it's a little bit slow because you gotta hit each trap individually. There we go. Whoops. God, I still want to rush forward. And there we go. Disable the traps. And just like that, you're in another room and you're exploring. Let's see if we can get to some combat here. Skip all this. And so, like I said, here we go. Now we've got we've got some enemies to kill. And you can easily, using the shortcut keys here, you can easily switch between whatever weapon you want to choose right there, and then you just keep swiping at them. There are, so far from what I've seen, there's about 5 or 6 different enemies, and that's within the first little bit of playing the game. So from what I've read, there are also there's just a multitude of different enemies that you're going to be fighting. Some of them are, whoops, there we go. Oh. Okay. And, yeah, like I said, just pretty much a basic dungeon crawl here. I'm trying to get to... There's actually a central area where what can happen is if you find this central area, there's little gates where you can actually kind of take shortcuts throughout the castle, so you're not constantly having to go back. It does feature a map, so there, this is all that I've explored so far. This is a place where you can also write little notes. So this is a note, and you'll see that there's a note right there, and then when you highlight over it, there's the whatever note you have for it. So it might be like a trap room or whatever kind of note you want to leave, like difficult boss or things like that. And like I said before, the game definitely has a difficulty curve, and a lot of it is just because the game doesn't tell you how to. It's not like any other game where it just kind of holds your hand throughout the whole experience, telling you exactly what to do and when to do it. The game definitely has a lot of experimentation and things of that nature. And this is the area that I was talking about, where you can essentially unlock areas of the castle. These can basically be considered checkpoints. So as you explore the castle and get farther and farther in, you'll be able to open these gates and then basically travel to whatever section that you want. And then this is the save area. you save, and then it also will fully restore your health. So the idea of having the shortcuts is pretty good, because once you get to, like let's say that you got to here, you got to this point, you fought and you're almost dead, well then you can just simply go inside this gate, go right back to this home area, and save your game and completely re-heal yourself. So that, in a nutshell, in a very, very extremely quick look, is Unepic. It's $9.99 right now on Desura. You can also get it through the publisher's website, or the developer's website, personal website, and I'll post that in the archive, the YouTube archive, when I upload this, when I upload the video after this recording. But you can, oops, crap, and there's the trap. See, yeah, like I said, there are a couple of things that I have issues with, and I think it's mostly just because I'm not used to how the game mechanics work, and I'm also playing at an extremely high resolution on my monitor, which really makes this screen extremely small right now. So I'm having some issues kind of picking out some of the details. But yep, that is essentially Unepic. If you enjoy games like Metroid, if you enjoy games like Castlevania, this is exactly the type of game that you're looking for. And like I said, with over 200 rooms to explore, there's bosses, there's crafting, there's the leveling system. Because every time you level, then you get to put points into what you see here, so you can upgrade your ability with daggers, your swords, things like that. So there's that aspect of it. And then it's mostly, like I said, just the exploration and just overall solid gameplay. The sound's very well done, and everything was done by one person over the course of 2 years. This is a game that I would recommend that you all check out. And that's pretty much the game portion that I wanted to talk about today. Ended up hitting something on the old headphones there to make that go. Okay, switch it back here. Of course, the headphones mess up the hair. But what I really wanted to talk about today, not so much the game, which is obviously, the game is a good point, but within getting this game, I've done a little bit more research into Desura and exactly what it is, and I mentioned it in a previous episode where I essentially just called it Steam for indie games. And while that is true, the main focus on this game is, on Desura, is the ability for developers to connect directly with their fans, as I'll show you here in a second. As I bring it up. Okay, we've got it up here. So, just by looking at it right off the bat, it has a extreme Steam feel to it. It has pretty much the same stuff, almost in the same locations. You got your library of games here, and then you have your layout with installing or playing a game, things like that. But the interesting thing, the difference between Desura and Steam, is that a developer that has submitted their game to Steam actually can post news in real time about their game or anything like that, and then actually they do have the ability to contact anybody that comments on these news posts. They can contact them directly. There's a little almost a blog type feature involved with this. So that's kind of the driving force of Desura, is to get developers not only giving them an avenue to publish, maybe with I don't want to say less restriction with Steam, but just the ability to kind of collaborate a little bit more and kind of polish up their games a little bit more by contacting and getting communicating with the fan base directly. and it's just a great way, I think, for indie games to at least start out. Like, you can go to Steam, and even on Steam, it would still be a little bit difficult for indie games to get the recognition, I think, that they need. And with Desura, this is strictly, I don't want to say strictly, but there's a focus on the indie game development. And even it is also a great place for mods. So if you are into modding at all, that you can submit a mod to any game, any retail game, and post it here. And then there's actual, again, you can have collaboration about how the mod works, or if you need to tweak anything, and it can all happen right there. And we'll just go ahead and check out. These are all the little options. When you click on this development tab, it's just all these things that Desura offers a developer. You can track your games that you have. You can track your mods, engines that you've either uploaded or working on or enjoy using. But yeah, there's everything going on here. You get your manage your games and with mods and DLC, and this is something that is the focus with these guys, that they wanted to give the ability to, if you include the ability to add modding tools into your game, you can throw it up right here on the site and allow the whole community to share the modifications on it. And if you're even looking for modifications, like I know with Amnesia, they offered their modding tools. But I personally, before I started really getting into this, I didn't know where to look to get anything like that. And you just do a quick search for Amnesia, and you can obviously see that there's just a bunch of different extra add-ons and things that the community has made for just Amnesia. So that's pretty much Desura in a nutshell. Like I said, if you are interested in game development, if you're interested in mod development, or you have a game that you want to develop, or you're developing and you want to kind of share it and maybe go through a little bit quicker to get it out into a digital distribution, this is definitely the way to go with Desura. So with that, that's all I got, guys. Yep. Let's see if I got everything. I did want to mention one thing. I did forget to mention that in the notes. The Humble Bundle and Indie Royale bundles ended last week. But the interesting thing to note is the Humble Bundle, the fourth Humble Bundle, gained over $2.4 million for these indie games. Granted, when you actually look at the amount of people, when you look at the average of how much people spent, it was only $5, but I mean that's almost 500,000 people that checked out the indie bundles and purchased and actually put down money for that. So those are actually things that you should keep looking at. And I know the Indie Royale bundle is going to be releasing a new bundle in about a week, so keep your eye out on that. And like I said, it's an easy way to start getting into indie gaming and just get the experience of getting a whole bunch of these indie games for a low price. And then if you really start to get into the community and indie games, go ahead, check out Desura. Like I said, they've got a bunch of different games on there. Some of them are even free. Some of them are, the majority of the games are only $5. And you'll see games on there that you won't really see on Steam. And they're, a little bit more, I don't want to say more indie, but just a little bit more different. A little bit more different. Yep. Okay, and with that, I am going to call this one good. I'd like to thank y'all for tuning in, and hope to see you next week. I'm not really sure what I'm going to be looking at. Again, I'm going to be going through Desura and Steam and just seeing anything that's out there, keeping my ear out there. I know that the Independent Games Festival is getting ready to release their finalists for their award show at GDC. I don't believe it won't be next week, but it'll be the week after. But once those games start coming out, I'll start focusing more on those finalists, and we'll take a look at what's going on there. So, without further ado, this has been CptDomano's Indie Corner, episode 5, and I'll see you next week.